that we should give the medium type tour operators more assistance in terms of publicity and promotion of the country. I remember one time PIA used to give agents discount 75% to every tour operator going abroad to participate in ITB or World Travel Mart or JATA or South Asia Trade Fair. And similarly share the cost of stands, give subsidy to them. Because this morning we have heard everybody and Mr. Aftab Rana making an excellent presentation. So the product, everybody, you go on the global, everybody is looking that Pakistan has a lot of prospect for promotion of tourism. But in fact, the prospects are there, but promotion is lacking. And promotion is very, very expensive. Even in electronic system, it's expensive. Even if you go, although digital literacy is low, usage is more in Pakistan, but digital literacy is still low. So, private sector should be given more and more assistance in going out and promote the country. Because virtual tourism promotion is there, but what is really needed is that people should have a B2B meetings more and more possible, and there where I would recommend that the government's role comes in. I was just thinking that in terms of the virtual universities we have, and some of the universities who have IT departments should install closed circuit TVs on our tourist sites like the Fort, like Shalimar, and they could be shown on through closed circuit, and then invite more and more fan trips. Maybe you can tell me that you are talking about 25 years back, but the impact which fan trips have of the travel writers as well as the tour operator and the opinion makers, that impact is universal and everlasting. So that is what most is required. Joint marketing for promoting with the region, then of course the stopover tours as much as we can, and then I had noted down a very good remark by the UN WTO's representative, and she said that first have cooperation and then competitiveness. When we used to go out in ITD, and Mrs. Varghese was one of our leaders there, since the size of market was small, our tour operators used to undercut each other's. So our advice used to be that try and increase the size of the market, so rather than cutting each other and sharing the same market and undercutting each other's by price. So once the market will increase, your share will increase yourself. And of course, that holds good, and she was right when she said that cooperate before you compete. And she also rightly touched upon the use of IT. I think Pakistan needs that to be done very aggressively, and that's where the government's role comes in, because the more and more you use IT in immigration, in visa issuance, in training, training of guides, that will help us a lot. And of course, then what we need is an introduction of regularization of travel insurance. Very few tour operators know that they have to have their tourist incoming insured also. Then government's role is also to opine now that for the first time after a lot of R&D, PTDC has done the job of having a brand for Pakistan, Salam Pakistan. I had some reservations, although it's a very good slogan, but slightly could be changed to Salam and Beautiful Pakistan or like that. But as it is very good, but it needs brand ambassadors. And the role of our foreign office is very important. I met their director legal over lunch here, but they have to be very, very outgoing, the commercial attaches. I had this plan, but I'm repeating it, that Aftab Rana has implemented that. What we were thinking, he has implemented that he has started courses for the commercial attaches, which is very good. But now it is for them, it's for the Secretary of Commerce and for the Foreign Secretary and the Director General of each region to ensure that our diplomats there, they implement. What throughout this morning we have seen that policies are there, but what is required is one word, as I said, regulation and implementation. So there are so many things, I can keep on talking the whole day on this, but again, mountaineering, which is our main product, that we have not sold the mountains that we should. The Pakistan Adventure Foundation did a job, but Alpine Club and so many others, Skiing Federation, they are not as proactive as they should be. But I personally think that our missions abroad, I told you in the beginning that I'll be quoting from my experiences. Madam Niloufar Bakhtiar and myself went to Turkey, the then minister, and she posed a question to the Minister of Tourism Turkey, that how you get millions of tourists, who sells them, how do you market? His apt and spontaneous reply was that right from the taxi driver who picks up the tourist from the airport up to the Prime Minister, everybody is Turkey's tourism promotion officer. So if you have to make a tourism economy, people talk of make Pakistan an agricultural economy, manufacturing economy, but we should work, that is what the title I have in the Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that Committee for Tourism Economy, and that I think indirectly is the theme of today's conference. So the government has a very proactive role to play, and don't just give the private sector incentives or unnecessary tax holidays. Where it is necessary, you should. For instance, I was talking to a private airline owner, and he said that when we lease an aircraft, Mr. Shaukat Tareem, the then finance minister, since he named him, so I am taking the liberty of naming, he imposed a 15% duty on the leased aircrafts, which he thought was a bit cruel. So those sort of incentives are okay, but what is required, assist them in terms of giving them assistance, income of travel facilities, advertising, sharing with them, and then training manpower for them, so that they employ trained manpower. And there is such a youth bunch now. So similarly, I'm surprised that for the mountaineering we only have the Pakistan Army to provide the rescue in case of emergencies to rescue the mountaineer. Allow the private sector, don't be overcautious for security reasons. I think I've spoken a lot. I can keep on going, but thank you very much. But of course, the road conditions, after the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor 1, the highways have improved a lot. But other than the trunk routes, the subsidiary routes need to be strengthened. The roads need to be more, they can still be narrower, but they should be strengthened every 6 months, because there is a big problem when there are landslides, when there is snowfall, and also the regulation of the transport safety itself. Once I remember that, I think it was Siddharth Travels group which was covering Japanese, and they went down the river in And for 10 years, whenever we used to go to Japan on promotional trips, they used to ask a question, how safe are your transports? So that's what the central government and provincial government. And last point I want to say that there is a lack of coordination. It has been very well touched upon between the provinces and the center. The Honorable Minister touched upon for the political reasons. But I think in those things you should be totally apolitical. Of course now we are in the nascency of our democracy, and for the first time different parties are in province and in the center. But that's how even the British democracy grew after 200 years of civil wars and monarchies wars. But then on this point they should be all one. There's lack of coordination. And there where you as World Bank should play the catalytic role. I was told by your deputy general manager here, who's a very nice person, that no, he deals directly only with government. And I like to tell Madam Crane, if she's sitting here, that when you are giving funds to government for various projects in tourism, of course you do a lot of due diligence, but you should make sure that the provinces get these grants, not grants, the loans on merit, not for any political reason. Not that because NHA is headed by somebody who's not in the province or vice versa. You should, as the givers, should make sure of this. Make it a yardstick. I think I've spoken a lot more than my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
No, we can sense the passion you have for the subject. But Susan, I'll move on to it. Where do you think the next wave of growth for the tourism is in Pakistan? And linked with that, do you think that these destinations are connected adequately?
The next wave of tourism. You see, tourism, I was today, let me first thank Aftab Saab for this opportunity for us to be over here and talk on this subject. We are privileged to have two previous MDs over here, through whom Mr. Masood Ali Khan and Mr. Salman Javed Saab, that we learned a lot when they were there heading this department. When they were heading this department, and from then when Aftab Saab took over PTDC, we were very happy that he is from the industry and he knows what the industry lacks and what are the potential. And we were glad that he made a team. It is not just him, it is the team that he built are delivering wonderfully. In fact, sir, you would also be happy to know that he is, PTDC is far ahead of what it used to be. They've learned from you, of course, and they have taken it a step further. In the sense that we see Pakistan's presence back in the international fairs, in not the same fairs, but more fairs all over the world. And that is a plus point. We see Pakistan's presence in the embassies, who were diplomatic missions, but who now also act as our tourism missions. And it's very encouraging for us, the private sector, to get calls from our embassies abroad wanting to encourage tourism. Now, these are steps that PTDC has helped push and made these connections. But when it comes to connectivity, I would like to touch that subject too. I feel that internally in Pakistan, we are, other than the tourism people, we are disconnected. Government departments are disconnected with the tourism department. Now, tourism, I feel the world over, is not just one particular segment of the government that runs tourism. everyone, like Salman Javed Saab mentioned, from the taxi driver to everyone, is part of that tourism thing. Here, where the disconnection is that we, the private sector, feels that the police has to be part of tourism. If they should have been a representative of here today, sitting and listening to us talk about it. There should have been the Ministry of Interior over here. There should have been the Foreign Office over here, and the investment people over here from various government departments. Now, with them, with their help, can we move this thing forward? Without them, we are disconnected. PTDC by itself cannot do, because there are bottlenecks on the road. The efforts that they put in, the money that they put in, the advertisement that they do around the world, it doesn't reflect on ground over here because there are bottlenecks on ground. But if collectively we all sit together with the private sector, where we could point out, and the team, which is just the PTDC and the ministries and the provincial tourism, which is a team, should be a larger team of every government department. That is what is lacking in the connectivity. Now that is very essential to move this forward. Now, you had put me this question to see where tourism is heading and what is the future places that we see tourism moving into. Tourism, like it was pointed out, 96% of domestic tourism, that's a very large segment. I was surprised that it's just 4% of the international tourism. And international tourism, mind you, brings in, if you look at the revenue aspect of both, I wouldn't be surprised if the revenue graph of the international tourist is much higher than 4% bringing in, It does bring in considerable amount. But domestic tourism is moving on, and it is there everywhere. The difference in the domestic and international tourism has to be understood other than the monetary aspect of it. The impact of on sustainability that we like to use the word, of your assets, from the mountains to the culture to the landscape to everything that we have, and there's plenty that we have in this country. Domestic tourism moves in the country from when the temperatures rise up in the southern provinces of Sindh and Punjab and the frontier, they like to go up to the cooler places. Murray was the initial place. We have seen what Murray's been converted to. Kawan, just a couple of years back, was a lovely, pristine wilderness. We have seen where Kawan is now. Similarly, Hunza was a world example. And people of Hunza now feel the impact of tourism on their region. Skardu, I would say, is not, I wouldn't put it as a next destination, but I would say that it is the destination now with international flights, with new hotels coming up. What we are learning from all of that is that there is no planning in tourism. In the provinces, wherever tourism is coming, if I am an investor, I want to make a hotel, I'll just buy a land and build a hotel wherever I feel like it. It shouldn't happen like that if we're thinking of tourism for our generations to come. And if we want it to be the industry in Pakistan, industry is not a 5 years industry, it has to be for generations. So we need to plan tourism development in those regions. Where we are losing, we need to learn from the new areas that are going to come up into tourism. I foresee other regions that will, in the next couple of years, they will be the hub of tourism. To give you an example, is Rizal and Yasin area in Gilgit-Baltistan. There is the landscape of there, the accessibility of that region is not just one road, it is the KKH on the one side, it is the alternate to the KKH, that is the Chitral-Shandur road and going on to Punjab. So it will have two connecting roads coming into that region, and it will have a very high impact on the landscape of that region. Now it is time for us to address Rizal and Yasin area to what we have missed out in Skardu or in Hunza. We have a chance now for the GB government to, instead of coming up with, they tend to, just think about how we are going to increase our revenue by a taxation on Devsai or Punjab or, these are petty things. This is not a vision of tourism, I think, where you're just trying to get 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees more from a visitor coming to an area where you are not giving any facility at all. You have to think of making a tourism plan. If GB government makes a tourism plan for Gizar and Yasin, I would then think that they are going on a positive line. But otherwise I would feel disappointed in what they are doing presently. Similarly, in the KPK, I think that another area that is going to come into tourism is the link between Kalam and Gumraj. Gumraj again is ill-planned tourism is going on in Gumraj, and I wish it would not move further on. In fact, there are places that you need to keep as wilderness. Wilderness has to prevail. In countries that depend on tourism, they have their wilderness preserved. They have huge parks that go for 100 miles maybe also, and it's just wilderness. And we have to cut down on the roads going into every region. Roads are expanding into every valley. You have to encourage the domestic tourist to move on foot. That is sustainable tourism. It should all be camping. Either you don't go into the area, or if you want to go, you can only go and camp out, no structures. A place like Shandur is now seeing structures, where it becomes a necessity for one security department or the another to have a store, to have something or the other like that, and here a tin roof comes up. How can we do that? How can we, we talk about preserving our wilderness, we talk about preserving our wildlife. It won't happen, Shandur 2 years ago, you could see bears coming down onto the polo ground. Now we have tin roof coming up in Shandur. So how do we talk about tourism as an industry, All these things then come down to, who is going to regulate it. We have seen in the provinces where they have not been able to regulate their own rest houses that were given to them by PTDC, and it has moved on to a private sector that gave them a better offer. Now, why not manage your own thing? When you can't manage your own thing, then others will come and manage it for you. So, you need to have tourism at the national level, The provinces should have the tourism department, there's nothing wrong in that. But tourism policies have to be implemented from the national level. I was very happy that Rana Masood Saab was saying that we're making a policy. I hope he will make the national tourism policy more vibrant. It is from here that we should take our directions to do things in the provinces. It should not be the provinces just saying that, because we are basically selling Pakistan. We are not selling GB or KPK or Punjab. Any foreign tourist that comes up over here, visits, if he's coming for 2 weeks, he doesn't stay in GB for those 2 weeks. He moves around. He wants to go to Lahore. He wants to go to Peshawar. So he's seeing each provinces. How can a province in GB tell me what I should do in Punjab? It has to be the federal government that has to take up the national tourism policy under it and give directions to the provinces so that we, in cohesion, we move forward in projecting Pakistan.
Thank you very much. Time, so we have to move on. Please.
I would just then briefly touch, the connectivity from the visa point of view. From the visa point of view, you have to interact with the private sector. You have to interact with the tourists themselves to know how good is your visa policy. It's definitely improved far from what it used to be. We have made great strides in that. But it is something that you always have to further improve. Now you cannot do that without looking at other governments' policies. How are Bhutan doing it? How is India doing it? How are the regions around us doing it? Our visa system still lacks a lot. There are three categories in it. There are the mountaineering and the trekking visas, which take extremely long to formalize. They take up at least months, 3-4 months. By that time, the tourists have lost interest in Pakistan and move on to Nepal. That just gives them a visa in 2 days. Now, this can't happen in these modern age. There is the spontaneous tourist who just decides that, okay, today I just have 5 days. I like to go to Karachi. Now, for him, visa on arrival has to be easier. More and more countries should come into the visa on arrival thing. When it comes to the general tourist that is coming in over here, our visa website has to be streamlined. It has to be made user-friendly. There should be less pages in it. There should be less information that you don't have to ask a tourist about his uncles and his cousins and all that to be able for him to get a visa over here. It should be very simple, very user-friendly, and you have to enhance the technology. If you're going to get more, your visa website should not get stalled. It should be, the infrastructure should be modern technology. You should be, and guidelines should already be there before he's filling up the form. The question and answer, session should be there that if it stalls like this is what you need to do. You have to guide the tourist to this. So it should be friendly, and it should be more easier and more short in cut it short down.
Sorry to interject also, I just one example. My friend, he called the Indian High Commission Islamabad for a medical visa for going to Bombay for cancer treatment. Within 24 hours of the call, he got the visa here. 24 hours. Immediately the High Commission operator connected him to a second person. Next day the man flew with his passport from Karachi and he was stamped in. Sorry, he's a very right example.
One last point regarding connectivity. The good work that PTDC is doing, what you're missing out is that, I'll give you an example. Just a week or two back, we got an invitation through the good efforts of PTDC for participation in an international fair in Saudi Arabia, of other places. And on a very short notice, tour operators went over there. The Pakistani community in Saudi Arabia was not aware of that Pakistan had stalls over there. And they started connecting tour operators that why didn't you advertise it? I think wherever you are reaching out, the government of Pakistan should give sufficient funds to PTDC to advertise Pakistan. Whichever fair, if you're going to Berlin a month before, it should be flashed around in newspapers, some articles and then on Manjadaro on different subjects. Every event that PTDC goes to has to be advertised by the foreign missions for at least a month before their arrival there.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. So I'll move on to Srinivasa. Very specifically because your background is aviation. So what challenges do aviation face when it comes to promoting tourism? So we have not seen a lot of growth in tour operators. So licenses have been granted, but we haven't seen that much growth. So you can shed some light on that.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, PTDC Chairman and the colleagues for inviting us. And with the kind permission of my mentor, Mr. Salman Javed sir, I reported back around 1989 to Mr. Salman, and that is where I am because of what I learned from my seniors. Connectivity brings prosperity. I'll just give you one example. When TIA started its direct flights from Dubai to Muscat, and the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Pakistan, he visited us and he talked about a great initiative. I fully agree with sir that structure should not be raised in those places. And what he did was that he enticed the local public to have a very good, comfy room along with all the amenities, hot, cold water. and the government gave them 15 lakh rupees each. So on the concept of Airbnb, they should have proper accommodation for the tourists, and that is how we provided connectivity. And with these facilities on the ground, you can see 22 weekly flights landing at Skirr only by PIA. So it's a huge achievement, honestly sharing with you. Yes, PIA or all other carriers, they are supposed to provide the air connectivity. But that road network, which is improving a lot now, I had the opportunity to travel from Skirtu to Gilgit by road. It's amazing. I mean, the places are so beautiful and enchanted that you can stay there for weeks and weeks. But why then only PIA is going to take it? We have just 280 or aircraft, God forbid one is down, the flights are cancelled. So all those plans in place by the people who have spent money, they are unable to visit the places. So yes, connectivity plays a very important role in promoting tourism, that is for sure. What I have seen in other countries, I'll just give you one example in Sri Lanka. We wanted to promote the religious tourism also, and a fasting statue of Buddha from Lahore Museum, we took it to Sri Lanka. Honestly, I tell you, there was not even a single nook and corner where people were not standing to watch it. So that kind of promotion for sure, but that kind of potential we have, that we can invite religious tourism a lot. Look at the Buddhist side, look at the Indian side. Look at this Kartarpur. It's a huge success. That is how one tourist, when he or she comes here, they talk about their experiences. I have seen the bloggers talking very good about Pakistan. And as Salman Sahab said, this digitalization, social media, young generation, they all believe in what is there. So that is how they are now coming to Pakistan. Direct flights play a very important role. As we started flights from Dubai to Skardu, first international flight to tourist destination, we are getting very good response. Because for security reasons again, we are over-secured. That is where people are reluctant to come to Islamabad and then go to Skardu. They would love to come directly to Skardu, go to Gilgit, come back and go back to their destination. I happened to be called by the Chief Justice of Gilgit Baltistan Supreme Court. Just on one question that how the connectivity can be improved for Gilgit. And my simple answer was that please make the airport conducive for bigger aircraft. That is how Skardu has been flourishing. That is probably how Gilgit has to be connected. Unfortunately, Selu airport is deserted. Nobody is going there. This Muzaffarabad airport is deserted. Nobody is going there. These are so beautiful places to visit. And above all, the people living there. I was at Nagtar. Honestly, I left my car on the road with windows open and everything was intact. So beautiful people. And they are so hospitable. They will just take care of you as our culture demands also. So every ingredient is there to promote tourism. It's only that we have to make the people reach there safe and sound. That is, we are playing our part for sure, but many others should come forward. This railway network, road network, we had our flights from Sakkar to Lahore, we had our flights from Multan to Lahore. The moment this road was there, we have stopped our flights. Starting from south to north, 1.5 hour flight and the Pakistan is over. So it's the road network which really needs a lot of improvement. We are not now operating Islamabad law just because motorway is excellent. People are there, atmosphere is conducive, we have heavens on earth here in Pakistan. Look at this Salam Pakistan. I wish every embassy is showing it on regular basis in their functions. We have lots of functions in foreign missions. I mean, who can miss these places? So yes, connectivity plays a very important role. BI is playing its part, but other people have to come forward to connect people and provide cheaper accommodation and transportation. Unfortunately, in high seasons, so please bear with me, but then people start charging so many exorbitant rates. All the tourists, they say, let's go to Central Europe because that is much cheaper than Scarborough. So we have to make accommodation reasonable as well as affordable. Once that is done, our food is amazing, our people are marvelous, and I tell you, then sky is the limit. Nobody can stop what we can earn from tourism. It's again huge. As Salman Sahab said, we have been organizing fan groups. Everything is there, but it's only this young generation. They want immediate food to what their efforts are, and that is how we can entice them through social media and good publicity through our missions. Thank you.
I just want to add to what Nashivan said. I hope there's somebody here from civil aviation. The Skardu airport infrastructure needs immediately to be upgraded. Yesterday before coming here, talked to our station manager there. There is need to improve the infrastructure at Skardu airport.
Very urgently.
Very urgent. Yes. But before coming, I talked to him, first to him and then to the station manager. That is one thing really. And of course to have the ILS, maybe they will say that category 2, 1 or 2 cannot be installed there because of the mountain. But other if they use VFR, maybe that is one way, but it's for them to see. Where there is a will, there is a way. And a friend of mine was telling me yesterday that in northern areas we are over capacity. There have been so many hotels, maybe Jandev can comment further. But you see the Say's law which we learn as students of drawing, that supply creates its own demand. So if the supply is there and we have the connectivity with roads being regulated, and of course the airlines are going there, Air has started going to Skardu, the demand would come up itself. So I would like if somebody to carry this message that the airport at Skardu needs upgrading on a very urgent basis. Thank you. Sorry for interruption.
GAVM sir, with your experience and now also with the North Air, so why hasn't aviation flourished as far as tourism is concerned? There is a specific mention of tour operators in the
First of
aviation
all,
policy.
thank you very much BTTC and particularly the staff side for providing us this opportunity. Before I completely talk about aviation challenges, I would just like to give a brief comment, and that is that we, in my humble opinion, we need to have a new orientation about how we look at tourism in Pakistan. We all talk about potential of Pakistan, but potentials are God gifted. We have been hearing this, since our childhood. And what have we done with these potentials? There is a big question mark. So this is, I think, a collective responsibility of all of us, government sector, and if government sector we are not satisfied, obviously, as the sentiment was, very rightly, shared by some outspoken seniors from the audience. But who stops us from sharing our responsibility for a sustainable tourism? And secondly, we take a lot of pride in, domestic tourism.
But I beg to differ that while domestic tourism has its share, but the revenue that we need for our economy and to convert tourism and travel sector into an industry, we need to, have a mix. This 96 point something local or domestic tourism would not support national economy. We need to have, foreigners coming in, and for that, obviously, we need to have connectivity. Word over, if we go by global statistics, about 58% tourists, they travel by air. And in case of Pakistan, as we do not have rail or sea connectivity for tourism purpose, so most of the foreigner will come by air. So we need to have more number of airlines operating and very friendly policies and regulation, so that the market can be expanded like it should. I will just give you example of tourism promotion airlines under 2019 national aviation policy. 4 airlines were granted licenses, but the policy had some default flaws in it, and none of us could operate. And while we all had our feasibilities made at the dollar exchange rate of 2020, we had a setback after COVID and global economic meltdown, and all our feasibilities had they were meaningless in the new environment. And it took us almost 2 years, continuous marathon sessions with aviation division to get those amendments. And now, inshallah, I think in the coming season, all these airlines, they are planning to get operational. So, idea is not to create negativity. Idea is that we should have an awareness, and we should share our own responsibility. So that is the point. And I think, again, maybe this is not directly related to our segment, but just for the recommendations, I would say that we need to revisit at least this 18th amendment partially, which deals with the tourism sector. The world over, they have gone from regional tourism departments and authorities to national level tourism, and unfortunately we have reversed it. You see, we are talking about the visa regime. Starting from the embassy, visa is a federal subject. You land at the airport, it is being controlled by civil aviation, ASF, ANF, immigration. These are all federal departments who have no stake with the provincial tourism. So how can they become our ambassadors? So if we have to have, starting from the official who receives the ground handling staff of the CA, the international flights, they have to be on board. The example like respected Salman Sahab had given of our neighboring countries. So we are not operating on those lines. So we have to create synergies, and we have to complement each other. The potential is so immense that everybody would get to share, and still there will be something left untapped. So instead of competing with each other, we must complement, and we should synergize our strengths for providing the meaningful connectivity to our destinations. So I think that's the message that we should give from this August forum.